All America, all the time. Sit down, buckle up, and get ready for the Dan Bongino Show.
So I was watching the chat, and no, it's not Gremlins. I saw a couple people. Why are they late? They're always on time. I'm going to tell you why. We were prepping for what is, I don't know, favorite. One of my favorites, because it's hard at this point. We've had so many interviews, President Trump and others. I have Sebastian Gorka, senior counterterrorism advisor to the president, coming on in about an hour. And please don't miss it. Media people, this is for you. I know you people in the media constantly like to say, President Trump, he's got nothing but acolytes and podcast hosts and others, ignoring, of course, our history in law enforcement, intel, Seb's history with counterterror. I know you love to do that. This is going to be a thorough evisceration based on results and stuff we actually did that's going to prove to you, although you won't accept the proof, that the Biden team and the prior leadership in the counterterrorist space before President Trump did jack squat and jack left town and totally screwed the pooch. And I'm going to put meat on the bone with him about what actually happened. You're going to hear it for the first time from people who lived it during year one of Trump 47. You want to hear about what's going on with counterterror? You're about to hear it. It took a few minutes. I want to make sure this gets done right. And I don't mean like ninjas are coming for me or whatever, I'm going to die or anything. But if something happens, God forbid I get in a car accident or something like that, I said this to Paula the other day. I'm dead serious. I want it on the record what this administration did. I don't want the record to be the New York Times and Washington Post's bastardization of what happened in year one in the national security public safety front. I want it on the record with receipts to back it up, and you're about to get them. Folks, I got a loaded show for today. By the way, thank you to Tommy John McGroin for the Ren and Stimpy thing. I do say he wrote a nice letter, and he's like, I'm surprised how easy it was to find your address online. I keep saying to you guys, you actually made my point. That's not my address. The only reason it got to me is the mailman knows who I am, and once in a while we'll just bring something over. That's not my address. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much. But that is not, I'm not playing a game. It's just not, my address is, I promise you, is well hidden. We've had a lot of problems. I do not need that out there. We've had too many issues, but thank you anyway. All right, I got a big show for you today. Big, huge job numbers just broke. Stunning story on AI, the good portion of it. So a lot to get to. Don't go anywhere. Here's a question. How many brokers does it take to insure your business? The answer, way too many. TOO. Multiple policies, multiple applications, no clear view of how it all fits together. And when questions come up, it's not easy to get the clarity you need. Super Sure changes that. One broker for all your business insurance needs, backed by a team that works with you year-round, not just at renewal time. If you've ever stared at a policy and you're saying, what the hell does this mean? What does that mean? You know the fine print? Well, Super Sure has a tool for you. It's the Fine Prints Facts tool. Translates all that legal jargon into plain English, so you know what's actually covered and what's not. Kind of important, no? Super Sure. Right now, you can go to supersure.com/Bongino and get a full report on your current policies with no obligation. Check them out. Find out if you're overinsured, underinsured, or somewhere in between. It's good to know. Go to supersure.com/Bongino. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Go to supersure.com/Bongino. That's supersure.com/Bongino. Consult with a licensed insurance producer to discuss coverage options for your specific business needs. Paid for by Super Sure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency. Thank you, Super Sure. All right, fellas, let's go. First, before we get to this, folks, this topic is getting exhausting, but I'm telling you in the most objective way possible as your friend. Even to the lefties who hate me, pretend I'm your friend for a minute. I'm not. I never will be, but just pretend. You can pretend you're good at acting. I mean, look, you had Bill Clinton in there, right? Check this out. You guys have the worst slate of candidates I have ever seen in my life on the Senate side. I'm sorry. You may say that's a subjective opinion. It's an objective fact. What is the red line for you guys? When is enough enough? You got a guy in Michigan campaigning with a guy who said that October 7th rapes really don't matter to him. You got a guy in Texas running on 6 genders and a meatless campaign in freaking Texas, the Talafrico cat. And then you've got this guy in Maine, Plattner, who I thought the Nazi tattoo thing was bad enough. And now there's a bunch of allegations coming out and there are allegations. I get it. Like, this stuff happens in politics. But like, what's the red line for you? A bunch of people, I guess he dated or someone, are like, man, this guy's really weird. Like, stay away, whatever. What is enough for you guys? And the thing is, it just keeps coming out. I saw this compilation this morning. It was this Western Lensman, Hat Tip, the great Western Lensman on X. Here's a compilation of every time the media has tried to give U.S. Senate candidate for the Democrats in Maine, Graham Plattner, Nazi tattoo guy, an opportunity to get out in front of the next bombshell after this last one just dropped. And every time he's like, well, I don't know, man, maybe something else, but it's just going to be a tax. Check this out.
I'm wondering, are there other skeletons from your past that still may emerge in this race?
No.
But the GOP is going to dig up everything and more that they can.
Yeah. And probably lie at some point. I mean,
Is there something new you want to get ahead of?
no.
People have to take you at your word that that's true and that there's nothing else. Is that what you are saying?
Yes.
Folks, what was to the Democrats listening? Again, I'm not your friend. I'm not your buddy, but we can all pretend. We can all pretend. We can all do a Barney the Purple Dinosaur, right? We can all sing around camp songs, roast marshmallows. Just pretend I'm your buddy for a minute. What's the red line for you with this guy? Anyone have any ideas? Is it like maybe it comes out tomorrow that he was involved in the Manson murders or something like that? He wasn't even born. It doesn't matter. Like, what is the red line for you guys? When do you say, all right, like, this is kind of, I thought the Nazi tattoo thing was enough. Apparently not. Call me crazy. And by the way, if there is a candidate thinking about running on the conservative MAGA Republican ballot who is a Nazi sympathizer with a Nazi stormtrooper tattoo, I would say the exact same thing. I think my bona fides prove that. Holy Moses, man. What the hell? What is enough for, what's the next shoe to drop? It's like this guy drops, forget about a shoe. Everywhere you walk with bare toes, someone drops a freaking cinder block on him. Be like, oh, that hurt. What is enough? Okay, I've had enough of that. Reminds me of that scene from Friends with the Matthew Perry character. And the phone's ringing. And who's it, Joey, the other guy? The phone's ringing and they're just sitting there. And he looks at him and goes, that'll stop if you pick it up. This will stop if you just stop running Nazi sympathizers. You have a choice coming up in November. I'm not forfeiting anything. Doomers, gloomers, grifters, bums, liberals, media types. It's over. The Republicans are going to get smoked in the midterms. Yeah, if we don't show up, they're going to get smoked. I'm not forfeiting anything. I am forfeiting nothing. The Democrats are in total disarray, shittiest candidates I've ever seen. And by the way, the people on our side, or pretending to be on our side, trying to tell you, don't show up, nothing is happening, constantly ignore lucky Trump, who just continues to get lucky. It happened again. Do you have that CNBC clip from Rick Santel? There he is, lucky Trump. I haven't played blackjack in a really long time. I'm itching. President Trump, this is my personal appeal to you because you're so, air quotes, lucky all the time. Can you please just get behind the dealer and rub the chips or something? The luckiest guy I've ever seen. These results just keep piling in. It's only luck, folks. It's nothing the administration, tax cuts, they didn't matter. Deregulation, that didn't matter. Oh, Trump telling the United States manufacturing base we're open for business. None of that mattered. None of that led to this jobs number that popped this morning that blew past expectations by more than double. Check this out.
The data is out. The May jobs report. 172,000. Is there any doubt that this anecdotal evidence about a good labor market has been very correct? That is a really strong number. And last month, we had a revision from 115,000 to 179,000, which means the 2-month revision has got to be over 90,000. That is a good number. Even manufacturing posted a 7,000 job gain. So how strong is 172,000? That would be the best number since 185,000 in March. These are solid numbers.
I know you guys have connections at the White House and stuff. Can you just get the president, seriously, Mr. President, we'll go to, what's that casino down here? Just Coconut Creek, or there's the Seminole Hard Rock too? Can we you don't have to stay. I know you Secret Service and staff and all. Just like, can you like blow on the chips or something? Amazing. The economy is exploding. What is it? It's all luck? It's not like the guy's been in office 10 minutes. It's been a year and a half. You now live in a country finally with a sealed border, sealed, 0 illegal migrants, again, admitted into the country. You live in the safest country, numbers, homicide rate, crime rates, homicide rate, raw homicide numbers in modern American history by a long shot. The economy's adding jobs at a rapid pace. You've got our manufacturing base being rebuilt, our military being rebuilt. And all these people can do in the bullshit media is complain all the time. It's got to be luck. It's got to be luck. This is the luckiest guy I've ever seen, man. It's a Friday. Here's more good news because I see the AI doomers out there too. Now, folks, disclosure because it matters. I'm an investor in AI because I believe in it. I put my money where my mouth is. I believe in free speech. There's 2 things I passionately with my money believe in. Free speech, I believe there is no future in cancel culture. You'll have no economy left. You can't have a segregated economy where conservatives can't get a bank account, can't speak. You can't. It's going to suffocate itself, cancel culture. And I also believe in artificial intelligence because I've seen the power of it. There's risks, of course. But listen to me. I told you this. It's a serious time. You know, like Captain Emotional Roller Coaster on the show. Nothing brain tattooed me more and scarred me more than going through that cancer thing and sitting at MD Anderson and watching these kids with cancer come in. I can't even describe it to you. It's the most horrifying thing. Like I said, I was in my late 40s. I don't want to die. My golden rules don't get dead, but I can't say I didn't live a full life. Thank you, God, for keeping me around as long as you did. Kids have not had that. Folks, if this artificial intelligence explosion that's leading to this growing economy, yes, there are downsides, I understand. If this can save millions of lives from people who have a terminal diagnosis of everything from, cancer to ALS to Alzheimer's, if we can fix this, isn't it our moral obligation to take a shot? Did you see this article from Axios this morning? For all the doomers out there, just in the last few months, Axios AM, medicine's hot streak. This is due to AI. An experimental drug by Eli Lilly, which targets multiple myeloma by editing cells inside the body, showed a 100% response rate in early phase clinical trials. Imagine you have myeloma and you're ready to die and you find out this is on the horizon due to AI. Wow, that's interesting. That's not it. There's more. A small early stage study found a gene editing therapy could potentially permanently lower cholesterol levels after just one infusion, opening the door to one and done heart disease prevention. Wow, that's pretty fascinating. Wait, there's more, like an infomercial. There's a trial that resulted in hepatitis B treatment found it was a functional cure for 20% of patients who received it. Imagine living with hepatitis and 1 in 5 people are cured because of this. Folks, it's a Friday. We did this. You would thank the Lord. Thank you, Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, for letting me be alive at this time. You live in the most prosperous time in human history, in the now. And it's not due to luck. It's due to policy. It's due to sound regulation, light regulation, keeping money in your pocket through tax cuts. However, a little piece of, we got to get our asses in gear a little bit too. Unfortunately, the Save America Act, which would institute basic voter protection around the country, again, did not make it through yesterday. I want to give you kind of a balanced approach to the news too. It's not the president's fault. He's already told people it's going to save America. The U.S. Senate just rejected the Save America Act. Hat tip, Eric Daughtry, as part of a budget reconciliation, 48-50. Folks, requiring voter ID and proof of citizenship, it's not hard. It's not hard. I don't understand why we can't just get this through. And I've already told you, if we don't scrap at a minimum the filibuster as it exists now and make it a talking filibuster, we're never going to get this through. And if we lose the presidential election, the House and the Senate, it's going to be really hard when they dump the filibuster first to stop just the avalanche of shitty policies coming our way. Now, we are living, as I said yesterday, in a bifurcated country, folks. I asked the question yesterday, and I got a lot of feedback on yesterday's show. We had a great audience. I said, listen, is this country headed for a permanent split? And the answer, unfortunately, I think is yes, it is. It's on ideological grounds. Folks, people are piling out of leftist blue states at rates we have not seen in human history. It is easy to get up and leave now. The advent of home work, I think, COVID, for all the awful things, a lot of people who are working in the services space set up home offices, set up offices that were small, set up these like workspace type offices where you just rent a thing and they can move. They're not like married to a 50-story IBM building, whatever, in downtown Manhattan anymore. They're just not. You are going to see moving forward an ideologically divided country where blue states they're basically going to burn themselves to the ground. And one of the reasons that the media is not going to stop them is because they're ideologically captured, folks. The media are full of lying communists, and they don't want to change. Put up that chart. Christina Wong put this out the other day. This ideologically split country, red America, blue America, is only going to get worse because as blue America collapses, liberals in the media will provide cover for blue America and blame it on red America, even though it's blue policies. That's why you see this. Trust in the media. Down 53 points from 1972 to 2025. How the hell do you drop 53 points trust in the media when your only job is to get people facts and you can't even do that? It's not even hard. Just collect and aggregate the data and give it to people to make a decision. Folks, nothing is going to stop this until the media decides to tell blue states the truth. And the truth is this. Blue states suck and people want to leave. And blue cities suck and people want to leave because of blue state policies. Confiscatory taxation, oppressive government regulation, woke DEI bullshit, failing public schools, bankrupt government spending. This is not hard. Now, you see people trying to change the media. You've got the new crew over at CBS. CBS is trying to bring the station back, the broadcast outlet, to a more moderate, fact-based journalism perspective. Everybody at CBS is losing their minds. Scott Pelley at 60 Minutes. You got all these CBS people leaking to the media. I can't believe they don't want us to be communists anymore with the hammer and sickle in our office. And yet, when you produce receipts like this clip, remember this infamous, remember the infamous Sir clip? Leslie Stahl, that hack at 60 Minutes? And you say, guys, you ever going to apologize for this? This is why left-wing blue state America will never change, because you've got people like Leslie Stahl providing cover for blue state America, and blue state America still believes Donald Trump was not spied on as a candidate and president, when I'm telling you from firsthand experience, miss a lock, folks, it 100% happened. This is not journalism. This is editorializing. This is why blue state America is locked in a death spiral Truman Show where they're all acting for each other. Check this out.
The biggest scandal was when they spied on my campaign. They spied on my campaign.
Well, there's no real evidence of that.
Of course there is.
No.
It's all over the place. Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? You know, this is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't put on things we can't verify.
Leslie, they spied on my campaign.
Well, we can't verify
It's been totally
that.
verified.
No.
It's been, just go down and get the papers. They spied on my campaign, they got caught.
No.
And then they went much further than that, and they got caught. And you will see that, Leslie, and you know that, but you just don't want to put it on the air.
As a matter of fact, I don't know that.
Okay.
Yes, keep that. How did you know I was going to go to the chat? Who did the sir emoticon thingy? We did. I don't even remember all the emojis we have. And I mean, I obviously know about the Mutleys, Karate Man, all this other stuff. There's a sir emoji. Light it up. Sir. There's no evidence of that. Yeah, Leslie, there is. You want to give me a jingle? We can chat about it. There's a ton of evidence. I actually wrote about it in my books. I footnoted it actually, but left-wing articles too, even from CNN. So look at that chat. Now you wonder why the country is split in red states and blue states and it's just getting worse? I promise you, the country would be a tinge of red-leaning purple. Because you're always going to have some Democrats around who live their lives in emotion instead of reality. It's fine, whatever. We're a caring country, and some people just don't want to accept reality. They just want a tolerance sticker on their car. This country would be even New York, I think, would have the potential to go purple if the media would just tell people the truth. Donald Trump was spied on. You increase taxes in a state, people leave. Public schools are failing our kids. We have some of the worst education levels in the organized, economically developed world. If they would just tell people the truth, nobody would vote this with no sane person. That's why, again, trust in the media is in the can. Imagine this passing for modern journalism. Did you see this interview with Dana White? You know Dana from the UFC, great guy. He's always been very nice to me and my family. They're doing an event on the White House grounds to celebrate the country, a little combat sports. We love that, right? UFC coming up this weekend. It's going to be a cool thing. It's, the 250th. It's a national celebratory moment. There was a piece in the Wall Street Journal the other day from a guy who doesn't even like President Trump, who's like, hey, if the UK during its, downturn could celebrate its jubilee, then the United States in this time should be celebrating its 250th. We made it this far, and we're still the greatest country on earth. Thank you, Jesus Christ. Why do the media people keep crapping on the country? Because Donald Trump's in office. That's it. There is no other motive other than to be, they're the anti-communists. We're the anti-communists, they're the anti-communists. Imagine asking Dana White a question like this, comparing like Hitler and everything to combat sports. What kind of stupid ass correlation is this? Check this out.
If you go back in history, you see sports has in times been used by authoritarian governments like Mussolini to show power, to show strength, to show control. Do you worry about the confluence of this sport in particular and the Trump administration sort of being intertwined?
I don't think.
Like, people might say, look, Trump's using the same playbook as a Mussolini or a Putin, right? Putin's into judo, right? And he uses this as a way to show he's the strong man. He's the man. Do you see Trump using that same playbook or no?
In politics, that's the way it's always worked. It's not just Trump. It's been like that since the beginning of time, and it will be till the end of time. It's not just one guy or one administration. It's everybody.
Folks, this is freaking disgusting. You are running a guy, CNN, because you're all Democrats over there. Let's just cut the bullshit. You're running a guy with a freaking Nazi tattoo who's got a growing CV of scandals unparalleled in modern political history. And you're lecturing Dana White, who's created, billions of dollars of wealth with this entertainment company he developed. You're accusing him of allying with Nazi ideology. Are you freaking crazy? And I love the way these idealistic media assholes who've never done anything in their entire life play down the role, which we wish didn't exist but is there, of violence in maintaining and keeping freedom for others. I'm going to give you a little homework for all these people out there who want to detach, minority America and elsewhere from, pride in our nation. Do me a favor this weekend if you're bored. Go look up the story. It's one of my favorite stories. I just got a piece of artwork from Horace Pippin. It's one of my favorite stories. I love history. I'm fanatical about it. Go look up the story of the Harlem Hellfighters in World War I. I'm just going to leave it at that. You want to talk about a group of badasses? And the only reason I bring this up is because you see the media, living in this utopian world where violence isn't necessary, where all violence is like directed at minorities. What about when groups of minorities who fought for this country bravely, incredibly, how come you don't tell their stories? The answer is because you don't want them to feel like on the 250th, part of the American fabric they created. Read the story. Folks in the chat, you know the story of the 369th? The Harlem Hellfighters, Horace Pippin, Henry Johnson. You want to see a story? Henry Johnson has a battle named after him. After him. Go see why. A knife and a box of grenades. What it'll do when one guy's got the balls to take on the enemy. There's your homework for the weekend. It's your country too. Should be proud of it on the 250th. Buy into this media bullshit. Now you see why there's this schism, because you got idiots like this. You know, the Nazis had violence too. Yeah, violence also kept the Nazis at bay and actually conquered them, you dumbass. Men willing to do violence on your behalf so you can go and spout bullshit to Dana White. Take a walk, man. All right, let me take a break. I've got a crossover coming for you right here. I was a comic book reader back in the day. Remember when DC and Marvel would have a crossover and like Superman would fight the Hulk? I've got a crossover. This is a crossover. These guys are like, what are you talking about? I've got a crossover between liberal media madness and nothing is happening. Both in the same clip. It's like a DC Marvel mashup. Coming up right after this quick break. Folks, Bon Charge, one of my favorite companies because I'm obsessed with life hacks. And you need good, high-quality equipment for life hacks, okay? It's a holistic wellness brand dedicated to helping you perform at your best. Through science-backed tools inspired by nature, Bon Charge combines ancestral principles with modern innovation. The result? Smart solutions to help improve sleep, help with energy and recovery, and overall balance. I love this company a lot. You've heard me talk about Paula's love for the red light face mask. One of my favorite products from Bon Charge is their infrared sauna blanket. It's incredible. Heat shock proteins, the value of heating up your body. The Bon Charge infrared sauna blanket is a game changer. It heats up fast, takes under a minute to set up. I can de-stress after a long day with a 30, 40-minute session while watching TV. You put a little pillow under your head and just go for it. It's amazing. It can help elevate your heart rate like a light workout, ignite a deep sweat, and leave you feeling calm and recharged. Look up the benefits of sauna. We had Dr. Rhonda on talking about it. Incredible. Bon Charge ships worldwide, offers free shipping and a 12-month warranty, and it's HSA and FSA eligible too. Go to BonCharge, BonCharge.com. Use code Bongino to save good savings here, 15%. Do it today. BonCharge.com. Use code Bongino to save 15%. Get healthy. BonCharge.com, code Bongino. Statements of products have not been evaluated by the FDA. Not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition. Today's show also brought to you by Byrna. You know I'm obsessed with preparedness and self-defense, public safety. I don't read for companies that I don't either use or enjoy their products. Obviously, this one I really like. I have got a couple myself. Byrna, B-Y-R-N-A. I get asked all the time, hey, how do you help protect your family without taking a life? Well, I'll give you the answer. Byrna. I have a Byrna. I have a couple they sent me, and let me tell you, I trust it, love the product. Byrna has a less than lethal launcher. It fires powerful kinetic and chemical rounds that can incapacitate an attacker for up to 30 minutes. It can give you time to get away and call for help. Byrna's new compact launcher, it's the one they just sent me, is about the size of a smartphone. It's easy to carry. It's really easy to use. There's no background check required. It works. The Byrna CL fires at up to 400 feet per second with serious stopping power and was designed to help with de-escalation, not devastation. Byrna is proudly American, assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana. More than 750,000 Byrna launchers are already in the hands of law enforcement and responsible citizens like you who want protection without tragedy. It is a great option. If you believe in being prepared, you believe in options, you believe in restraint, BYRNA Byrna is for you. Check it out today. Go to Byrna.com and learn more, BYRNA.com. Check them out. Thank you, Byrna. We appreciate it. Okay, back to the show. Here is your crossover event of the day. Folks, I got to tell you, the last year of my life was weird in some respects. It was weird because being on the inside, it's not about you. It's not that you're not allowed to go tweet stuff. It's not about you. You got appointed by the president, whatever. You get that. But it was really strange balancing the schizophrenia of the nothing is happening crowd versus the left-wing media saying we really object to what's happening. Does this make sense, Justin? You know this because I used to come back here sometimes during the weekend. I would talk to Justin. I'd be like, it's the weirdest thing ever. Like, as we're dealing with a set of doomers who want to destroy our movement, telling people nothing is happening, while the left-wing media is writing about what's actually happening and saying how horrible it is. You don't know where, it's like a two-front war. You know, you got like Stalin coming from one side and you got D-Day on the other side. You don't know where to go. You're like crushed in the middle. I mean, you don't know what to say. Like, is something happening or not happening? Because how can they be complaining? Yeah, that's why I trust in the media. So this is a crossover between nothing is happening and liberal media madness. And here's what I mean. You know, people have said, you hear it on the other side, some the doomers will tell you, well, on the public corruption front, you know, nothing is happening. And I've said to you possibly hundreds of times now that that's just made up. These cases take time. Some of them you've already seen. One of them was the John Bolton case. John Bolton just pled guilty, so it's no more like allegations, pled guilty to the charges. But it's interesting. Greg Price, I love his account on X, said when John Bolton was indicted last October and everybody told us, you know, nothing is happening, while the media complained about Bolton happening, this is what I'm talking about, the schizophrenia, he compared Trump to Stalin and said he was the, quote, latest target in weaponizing the DOJ to charge those he deems his enemies. Greg notes, today, he pled guilty. He got his due process, folks. He didn't have to plead guilty. I was there through this. I thought nothing, again, was happening. I don't understand, like, how it happens. And they say nothing is happening, and then the media on the other side objects to what's happening. I saw a bunch of articles out, you know, defending him, one even in the Wall Street Journal. Okay. He pled guilty. I didn't tell him to plead guilty. I'm out of the government. I've been out of the government for a few months now. He pled guilty. Did you miss that? It was CNN yesterday, again, complaining when he was arrested, of course, the CNN people, this was weaponized government. The case didn't even start under our administration. I don't even know what you're talking about. Here's CNN yesterday having a report on a guilty plea for a crime they swear to you wasn't a real thing, was just weaponization. Isn't this kind of weird? Check this out.
Is expected to plead guilty over mishandling classified documents. This is according to 3 sources familiar with the matter. My sources are telling me that he is expected to plead guilty to 1 count of illegally retaining classified information or national security information at his home. Now, this was a substantial case that had been investigated very significantly by first the Biden Justice Department the whole way through the beginning of this term of Donald Trump. What he's alleged to have done here is taken documents or taken notes of documents or briefings he was being given as national security advisor in the first Trump White House, and then emailing them to himself, almost as if it were a diary entry, and then printing them out, allegedly, and keeping them in his home after he was fired as national security advisor in the first Trump administration. He then wrote a memoir, and his home was searched. When his home was searched last August by the FBI, they found multiple electronics and documents with information labeled secret or confidential or classified, not necessarily the documents themselves, potentially, but he at very least had these diary-like entries.
Yeah, who is that? PTR8 in the chat. It's a data point, LOL. Folks, so just to be clear, it's a data point. We didn't even start the case. And he pled guilty. And the media, the Wall Street Journal too, is still running these op-eds attacking the Trump administration for weaponization. It's the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen. And the doomers are still, nothing's happening. Here's more stuff that happened yesterday. Of course, we had a bunch of independent journalists doing an amazing job exposing massive levels of government fraud. And I told you, fraud cases take a little bit of time. You got to subpoena banks. If the bank says, we'll get back to you in 3-4 weeks, we got to compile the records, you can push them and squeeze them, but ultimately you're waiting on them. Then you're waiting for a judge. The justice system grinds very slowly. We try to do our best to put some WD-40 on it, but it grinds slowly. Massive announcement yesterday, tens of millions of dollars of fraud, huge press conference. Here's a short piece of it yesterday from the Nothing is Happening file. And then again, the liberal media pissed off about what's happening, the schizophrenia of the crossover event. Here's Kash on people stealing money from like kids' playgrounds and stuff like that to go and defraud the government. You want to talk about a bunch of deranged lunatics? But yes, this happened yesterday from the Nothing is Happening file. Check this out.
Operation Playground Therapy is what the FBI is here to talk about today. As the Attorney General highlighted, literally tens of millions of dollars that was supposed to go to kids was stolen, allegedly, by individuals who worked in government and the private sector and thought they could fleece Americans and our treasure, our children, of the hard-earned dollars, the taxpayer dollars that we provide to support them in their time of need. Well, they got caught. And not only did they get caught, so many others got caught. Just take a look at some of the vehicles that are here as part of their ill-gotten gains and proceeds. They didn't just take the money, they paraded it around the country. And thanks to this team here, you are seeing what hard work, dedication to the rule of law, and true unified effort across all fronts when no one wants the credit and everyone wants to just do the work. These are the results that we're here to talk about today.
Listen, man, I'm just going to throw this out there, and I really don't give a damn what the left-wing media who objects to what's happening while the doomers tell you nothing is happening said. You can take that, roll it a ball, shove it right up your ass, okay? This FBI director is the best FBI director we've had in modern times. Now, granted, the bar is really low, Ray, Comey, and others. Results. I don't care if you like him, you dislike him, you don't like his haircut, whatever. You don't like the shape of his ears. I don't give a shit. All I care about is results. And I'm telling you that he's my friend. I've known him for a long time. Put that aside. I'm telling you that in the most objective way possible. Who else? Thousands of kids saved. Thousands of child predators locked up. The lowest crime rate in U.S. history. Summer heat 1.0 and 2.0. Lowest homicide rate in U.S. history. Public safety, you are the safest you've ever been. 10, 20, 30 counter-terror, big operations interdicting, some stuff they can't even talk about. Massive efforts to lock up CCP spies that are in here trying to secrete things into the country. The expansion of the biometrics program overseas to expand the border of the United States. A brand new drone program. The entire counter-terror strategy rewritten from this BS identity politics crap. That's just in a year of results. That's all that happened. And I'll put that up against anyone. And you got the doomer. Another thing say, go f yourself. You don't know what you're talking about. The public corruption cases. These cases were sitting there just floundering. And then you got these people telling you, don't show up. We just had the most amazing news this morning. 172,000 jobs created, explosive job growth, double the 80,000 estimate, revisions to the last quarter of job growth going up. AI, I played in the beginning of this show, solving medical problems that have existed since we're Homo sapiens sapiens. I mean, really. Hepatitis, viruses that have been around forever, myeloma, cancers, all of these things. Folks, we're probably 5 years away from legitimately solving, not fixing, solving health problems that have plagued humankind since we've been humankind. You live in the most amazing time. And you get the doomers, we're going to get smoked, we're going to get crushed. If we get smoked and crushed, it's because of you. It's because you won't stop shitting on the administration. That's why. Now, you think the Democrats are in great shape? You ready to give up? Watch this. This is what receipts look like. This is what meat on the bone looks like. Here's CNN pollster Harry Enton we play often. Folks, the Democrat approval in Congress is some of the worst we've ever seen. You think they're in great shape coasting into this midterm like Snake Plissken on the surfboard and Escape from L.A.? A horrifyingly bad movie. But if you saw the scene, you know what I'm talking about. You think they're coasting into the mids? Receipts matter, right? You ready to give up? I'm not giving up shit. We're pulling 10 people to the poll, and we're going to do as good as we can in the midterms. Here's the numbers. They are in the can. Watch yourself. Check this out.
Democrats' net approval of congressional Democrats. Look at this. In October of 2025, right during that shutdown, that first shutdown, plus 22 points on the net approval rating. So Democrats, okay, fairly satisfied with Democrats in Congress. Today, though, look at that. That is an over 30-point drop, a decline right into the ocean right there, minus 9 points. And I will note, it had never been negative. Democrats had always had a positive net approval rating of their own party in Congress in every Congress before this one. But now what we're seeing is consistent numbers across the board where Democrats are underwater, congressional Democrats are underwater with their own party.
Folks, why are they underwater with their own party? Because despite the ideological divide and the country splitting, it's like I said to you before, despite the Leslie Stahl, despite the lies, despite the Mamdani communism, despite the crappy public schools, despite the bankruptcies in blue cities and states, there are still reasonable people who are starting to get it. I told you there's always going to be a core group of people who will never leave the Democrat Party because they got a bumper sticker on their car. It says coexist. They read an Aesop's fable and they think that's the real world, that the world isn't full of trade-offs, okay? There is joy in understanding the misery of the world. You ever hear that line? If we were happy all the time, you wouldn't know what happiness was, right? It would just be it. The reason happiness feels happy is because we have this, you're not euthymic all the time. You have this kind of, the natural vicissitudes of life, the ups and the downs. Conservatives understand that. There are trade-offs to everything. You want money to buy things you like for your kids? You got to go to work. Get your ass out of the fucking seat and go to work. And when you go to work and you earn it, it's a reward system and you want to work more and produce more so that you can enjoy your life with your kids. The liberals want everything for free. But people are waking up because they're getting kicked in the balls. That's why you see this approval rating in the can. And folks, I said to you we have never seen numbers in our life like during the Trump, Kamala Harris, and previously Biden election before he dropped out. We would do like a special emergency show. There'd be like 300,000 people here. It was crazy. There was never more interest in politics than that. You see that? These guys are doing a euthymia, a normal, tranquil mental state of mood. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to. You did? No, he didn't know what it meant. I'm not trying. It's not an SAT course. It's just, I would tell you why, but if you cite your education, I'll show you in a minute, you're probably an asshole. So we're not doing that. The Bidens will not go away. Joe Biden, Jill Biden's got this book out. Hunter Biden's out there trying to rehabilitate his image and pretend he's like some MAGA superstar. And unbelievably, there are suckers falling for that bullshit, right? Joe Biden, former President Biden, spaghetti brains, is now saying he's got a book coming out right before the election. Ladies and gentlemen, the Democrats are pissed. Ask if you have some connections to Democrat people in D.C., swampies or non-swampies, just ask them. Just say, hey, how welcome is Joe Biden in the Democrat Party? Even members of probably the Biden family are like, they want this guy gone because they don't want a reminder of what 4 years of a die-hard liberal presidency looks like. Open borders, Afghanistan, 9% inflation. Nobody wants that. No one. I said this to you during that cycle of politics where the show was just crazy. I mean, I think back, we had 550,000 people on election night. The only people who beat us was NBC. It was crazy. Folks, Joe Biden is the president Barack Obama always wanted to be, but was too politically savvy to become. Stop for a second. Everyone stop the show. Well, don't stop the live stream, but I want you to think about what I just said. Obama is ideologically to the left of Joe Biden. The Biden presidency was more ideologically communist, leftist, progressive, whatever euphemism you want, than Obama. Obama was a disaster and started this entire thing. Zero doubt, period, full stop-a-roo. But Obama would lie and pretend to be a moderate. Remember, he wasn't for like gay marriage and stuff, and then he was, and then he said he couldn't do anything about the border, and then he said he had a pen and a phone. Obama knew to lie, and lie a lot when he needed moderates. Joe Biden, hear me out, miss a lock, folks, he is just really stupid. So when his liberal base pushed him to do crazy things, like men's penises in the women's room, pull everybody out of Afghanistan with like no warning, open the border to tens of millions of people, he didn't have the cojones to basically lie to the liberal base and fake it. They just want this guy to go away, and he won't. Now, receipts matter. Here's another CNN poll. This is probably the single most unpopular former president in modern U.S. history, and he will not leave the scene. This is why they're in trouble. They got a book coming out reminding everyone of the shitty Biden presidency. What a knucklehead. When you leave the presidency, even Jimmy Carter, who was terrible, but did some good things on the deregulation front, even Jimmy Carter rehabbed his image. Joe Biden is going almost nowhere. People think he sucked when he left, and just about the same amount of people think what? He sucks now, and he still won't leave. And you don't want to vote in November? They're going to get a reminder kicking them square in the ass of how shitty the country was right before the election. And the Democrats are pissed off. Capital P. Check this out.
American people have one message for the Bidens. That is, go away. Go away. I mean, just look at this. Look at Biden's net favorable rating. In January of 2025, it was minus 22 points. Has it gone any better? No. Not really. He's still way underwater here at minus 19 points. He's 28 points underwater with independents. Joe Biden ended his term as president, is quite unpopular, and he remains quite unpopular. He is an anchor to the Democratic Party and potentially their fortunes in the 2026 midterm elections.
How does that compare to other former Democratic presidents?
Okay, let's go back through the history books. I went back through the spreadsheets, right? This is essentially what we're looking at. Former Democratic presidents' net favorability at this point post-presidency. The lowest by far is Joe Biden, 19 points underwater.
Gratis Flatus in the chat. You know where I'm going with this. The Motley Crew. Girl, don't go away mad. Just go away. Gratis Flatus says Brandon, of course. Brandon, I want you back. I'm glad the book's coming out now. Biden is stupid, folks. I mean this in the actual intelligence quotient sense. He is socially stupid and he's just dumb. No sane politician with his garbage record releases a book before a midterm election with a minus 19% approval rating in the Democrat Party. Nobody does that unless you want one thing. What does he want? Dinero. This is all about the cheese, the cash. Nobody wants him on the speaking circuit. Nobody wants the Biden crew around. Hunter Biden trying to refashion himself as some MAGA superstar. They need the cheese. It's always been about the money. And they don't care whose ship they sink. They don't give a damn. And no course correction is coming. This is why I'm not forfeiting the midterms. I don't care. Call me a happy warrior. Ren and Stimpy, happy, joy, hat tip, Tommy John McGroin. I don't care. I'm not giving up anything. We lose, fine, we lose, but we're going down fighting. I'm not giving up anything to these freaking communists and crazies because the people we're running against are freaking nuts. You want to see an epidemic of crazy. This is the craziest race. This is a congressional race. The incumbent is this guy, Adriano Espilat. Forgive me if I'm saying it's not intentional. I just don't care enough. People say my name wrong all the time. Here he is in an interview, right? This is another liberal Democrat crazy. This is like considered the moderate in this race. He's the incumbent congressman. He's giving an interview. It's really quick. And the guy's like, hey man, like, where's your stance on deporting violent felons? He either doesn't want to deport them or doesn't even want to answer the question. Dude, Jasmine, is this a ground ball? What's the answer, Jasmine? Do we deport violent felons? Even a freaking crazy person's like, yeah, that's probably a good idea. They're here illegally and they just stabbed or raped a woman. They should probably go. This guy's like, nah, I'm just not going to answer. This guy's considered the moderate in the race. Wait till you hear the crazy person running against him and the worst campaign ad we've ever seen from not the dream team, but the nightmare team. Hat tip Justin. But first, play Espelot. He can't even answer the question. Check this out.
At the end of the day, believe in any more deportation than she does, including people who have come illegally and committed violent crimes? That's the question.
I'm fighting deportations every single day. Over 700 cases a year go to my office of people that are online to get deported.
He can't even answer the question. Violent, illegal felons who are here illegally. Bro, this is a ground ball. Are you insane? You want violent felons here illegally who have no rights and claims to our system whatsoever. You can't just answer the question. This guy, again, is considered like the air quotes moderate. You know, we got to play the ad first because this ad is just, Justin pulled this. I did not see this ad. This is a real ad. This is not like BS. We didn't invent. It's not AI. It's not a joke. I mean it. Mamdani, the Stalin acolyte, the mayor of New York City, the commie, is running a woman against this guy. The woman is crazy. She called the United States an effing disgrace. She doesn't want to deport anybody, and she committed the cardinal sin of the Dan Bongino show. What is it, fellas? Never, ever cite your education. Nobody gives a shit, and you sound like an asshole unless you ask for a dispensation first. Don't do it. I'll play that coming up in a second, but watch this campaign ad. This is real. This is Mamdami's dream team of candidates who are running on the far left flank to take out even crazier candidates who are in office now. The lady's name is, she says it with, I don't know. She does the whole affectation. Here, check this out and see for yourself.
New York, we know anything's possible with a great team.
I'm Brad Lander, and I'll block billionaires from buying our elections.
I'm Maria Elisa Avila Chevalier, and I'll defend New York by abolishing ICE.
I'm Claire Valdez, and I'll stand up against bad landlords and greedy corporations.
Get out and vote. This is the team. This is our year.
I'm Brad Lander.
I'm Claire Valdez.
I'm Maria Elisa Avila Chevalier, and
we approve this message.
Okay. You know what? I actually approve that message too, because it's so freaking stupid. Especially with the Knicks in the playoffs. You see that and you go, wow, if the Knicks are your dream team this year, that's the freaking nightmare team. Now, the lady's name, I'm not trying to be funny. I don't even know what she said. Daria Lisa. I don't know. Whatever. You heard her name. I'm not mispronounced to be a smart ass. I just don't, whatever. Daria Lisa. Daria Lisa. That's what we're going to go by, okay? Dara Lisa's even crazier than Espelade. Folks, there is nobody coming to save the Democrats. There is no Bill Clinton, JFK. They're not, it's not happening. They're only going to spiral into more crazy. Here's a Fox segment yesterday on Daria Lisa saying how she's asked a question about, hey, you're not really for deportations. What about violent criminals? She does the education thing. This is it. Totally disqualifying. You mention your education in this context without asking for forgiveness first, you're automatically disqualified in Dan Bongino's book. Check this out.
I'm not interested in relitigating the politics of my tweets, which are the politics of the past.
But what is your new position, therefore, on how much to, quote, abolish the border or all deportation is wrong?
And, I'm someone who has studied as a PhD candidate immigration, right? This is something that I have been spending years taking a deep dive into. And, I do believe that deportation is wrong.
Daria Alicia Chevalier. The other guy who doesn't want to deport violent criminals is considered the sane one. Folks, nobody is coming to save these guys. And by the way, freaking California. What is it, Friday? It's a live show, I promise. Look, there's the home screen of my phone with the date on it. It's a live show, even at the time, okay? You put the atomic clock on in the background, whatever the hell. How are we on Friday? We still don't have the results of the California election? There you go. Live Fox right there. Proof of life. How do we not have results? This is the craziest freaking thing I've ever seen. This is an insult to banana republics. At least they make money off good bananas. This is insulting. How do you show up in California to vote on Tuesday or send in a ballot, possibly a month out or more, and they still don't know who won the freaking election? I want you to watch this CNN clip. I guess about 20 seconds of it. Here's CNN trying to justify the intergalactic embarrassment that California elections have become when they can't decide who their candidates are, weeks and potentially at this point, months later. Listen to how they talk about, hey, we just want to give people more time to vote, extend the timeline. Okay, stop before you play it. Even if that were the case, you want to cheat, cut the bullshit. For Democrats, that's what you want to do. And it just gives you more time. Even if it was about extending the time. Ladies and gentlemen, why not just extend the time in advance with early voting, but then wrap it up on election day? Time, correct? Let's throw a unit of time out. We're Democrats. We want the vote to be 60 days long. Fine. Mark election day and go 60 days back. After election day, it's over. That's not what the Democrats want. The Democrats want to see the result tallies come in on Election Day and extend it for 60 days after so they can screw with the vote tallies if they need to through harvesting. It's not time for them. That's got nothing to do with it. Listen to CNN try to justify this bullshit. Check this out.
Why does it take so long to count ballots in California compared to other states? Well, essentially, California leaders have made the decision that it's more important to give more people more time to make last-minute votes than it is to count quickly, where other states have said it's more important to count quickly and not necessarily give people as many options to vote at the last minute. So in California, you can turn your ballot in up until the very last day. As long as it is postmarked by Election Day, there's up to 7 days for that to come to a vote processing center like this one to be counted.
This has nothing to do with voting quickly. Time is not the variable. It is they want to see what the vote count looks like post-Election Day and see how many harvested votes they can get. It has nothing to do with time. If we said to California, okay, we'll stipulate, I'm not telling you this is a good idea. If we said to California, we're going to give you 4 months to conduct an election. Send out ballots 4 months early. Stupid idea, but it's got to be wrapped up by Election Day. It's not there. Election Day, that's it. They would still say no. It's not about time. It's not about time. It's about watching the results evolve and manipulating them post-Election Day, if they can, through harvesting. It's bullshit. They're just making this up. California, man, you're not freaking embarrassed by this? The answer is no. They love this shit. By the way, someone get on the phone, the dial 911. Did you see this felony assault on Capitol Hill yesterday? It was unbelievable. It was like a bloodbath. Somebody should have called the cops. Metro should have been in there, Capitol Hill Police. Did you see what happened with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Wyden, that goofball senator? Folks, this is one of the most brutal takedowns I have ever seen. Bessent's like a ninja. You know, you got people like Hegseth's like a samurai. He's got the costume and the sword, and you just see him and he's very intimidating. Bessent's like a ninja. Comes out of the darkness, the throwing stars and stuff, the grappling hooks, those little funny shoes with the toe sticking out, whatever. This comes out of nowhere. Wyden tries to use the Trump Epstein thing again. Bessent just please, someone get on the phone with Martin County Sheriff. This is file a report immediately. Check this out.
Nobody is interested in the ramblings of a capo in the most corrupt regime in American history. We want to get some facts about this deal. That's what we're here for. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and I will ask my questions first today.
And we would like to hear what Adam Wyden and Jeffrey Epstein talked about. Your son's largest investment position was Rick's Cabaret. So did your son and Jeffrey Epstein talk about pole dancing as he begged him for money using your limited credibility?
Someone get the, you got Jasmine, I told you, get the sheriff. I mean, somebody needs to file a report, folks. This is a felony. This is assault 1 in the umpteenth degree. This is like piracy. There we go. They're coming here right there. Look at this. The siren's outside. It's even on the screen, folks. Fellas, come on. You got a pen? Here, guys, get the report. Jasmine, file it immediately. What the hell just happened? Ron Wyden, by the way, didn't even respond. He didn't even know what to say. Oh, man. Report number 001, 2026, AB 522, R2D2. What? That was for Guy. What the hell just happened? That was a political homicide on camera right there. Wyden's like, oh boy, I didn't want that out there. No, you did. You didn't. By the way, it's Friday. You know I like Make America Funny Again. Did you guys, I've never seen this clip. I saw this yesterday on X, and I played it for the guys this morning. I was debating putting this on the show. I'm not a huge fan of SNL, but this guy is freaking hilarious. Did you ever hear of Nate, was it Bargatze or something? This guy is freaking hilarious. I played this clip this morning. You know I love history and all, and I can only imagine this conversation happening with Washington. And as we were at the tail end of the Revolutionary War, and we're thinking about what this new country is going to look like and this new version of the English language. If you guys haven't seen this clip on a Friday, this is a classic. These guys already saw it. This is so worth your time. And my wife, being a non-native speaker of English who had to learn English, she can relate to this. Check this out.
We will live through the battle ahead because we fight to control our own destiny. Yeah. To create our own nation. Well said. And to do our own thing with the English language.
Our own thing, sir?
We will be free to spell some words 2 different ways.
Which words, sir?
Donut. And the name Jeff.
What are the 2 ways to spell Jeff, sir?
It's the short way with a J and the stupid way with a G.
I'm sorry any Jeffs in the chat, not me.
2 names for animals. One when they are alive, and a different one when they become food. So cows will be beef, pigs will be pork.
And chickens, sir?
That one stays. Chicken's
in
are
the
chicken.
chat.
And we will create our own foods and name them what we want, like the hamburger.
Made of ham, sir?
If it only were that simple. A hamburger is made of beef, just as a buffalo wing is made of chicken. But fear not, men. A hot dog will not be made of dogs.
What is it made of, sir?
Nobody knows.
Listen, I'm not a huge SNL fan, but I got to tell you, whoever wrote that, if that was Nate, that is freaking hilarious. My mother-in-law, my wife speaks, you've heard Paula talk like on the show. They didn't even speak with an accent anymore. She speaks perfect English. But my mother-in-law, she's always had some issues. She came here later in life. And that's one of the reasons. Like English is one of the hardest languages in the world. You don't realize it because you were born speaking English and you just know that. I can imagine that conversation. Washington, sitting there with the boys. Hamburger going to be made out of ham if it were only that easy. It is Friday, of course, and producer Jim, in the spirit of leaving you on Friday over the weekend, especially in the glorious American summer of our 250th, in a good mood. That, I hope, put a smile on your face. I do not see these in advance. Producer Jim always produces for us on Friday a Democrat Zen moment to bring back some meditative peace for you for the weekends and some psychological balance and maybe some euthymia. Here's our Democrat Zen moment of the week.
Your Democrat Zen moment of the day. A peaceful moment to center your mind.
When does it end? Bro,
What the hell is this shit?
tired. I'm so exhausted. Like, it has to stop. It has to stop soon. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, get me out of here.
This has been Democrat Zen.
This is not real. You guys are just, Jim's paying these people. Folks, I can't vouch. Jim had to. There's no way that's like someone actually recorded that and put it out for social consumption. There's no way that happened. Jim, I'm sorry. I need receipts. Like, you have to prove to me you're not actually paying these people. This cannot be real. These Democrat Zen moments get worse by the week. Whew. There's some calm for you for the weekend. Folks, immediate people, this is an alert for you. Number one, Vince, you know Vince, rumble.com/Vince. He is on at 8 o'clock every day on Monday. Has a great guest, Interior Secretary Doug Bergman, about everything going on at the 250th. He's got a big portfolio. And this guest coming up, Counterterror Advisor Sebastian Gorka, is going to illuminate for you media crazies who keep lying to people what the Trump administration actually did. Not talking points, not BS, not the Kamala Harris. I've never been to the border. Well, I've never been to Europe either. Well, we've been places and done stuff. And now You're going to hear about it. Quick break. We'll get to Seb Gorka. Hey, becoming a parent completely changed how I think, and many of you think about responsibility. You start realizing how fast life can shift and how important it is to have things in place so your family isn't left scrambling if, God forbid, the unexpected happens. You got to be prepared. It got me thinking seriously about life insurance, not as a scary topic, but as a part of your basic planning. It's really important. What really stood out to me about Ethos is how simple they made the process. Everything's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and for many people, coverage can start the same day. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few health questions online. That alone removes a lot of the friction that keeps people from even starting. Ethos helps provide financial security, and that matters. It's really important. It's designed to fit real families and real budgets. Protect your family today with life insurance from Ethos, E-T-H-O-S. Get up to $3 million in coverage in as little as 10 minutes at ethos.com/Bongino, E-T-H-O-S. That's ethos.com/Bongino. Take 10 minutes, get covered today. Take that worry off your plate with life insurance through Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/Bongino. That's ethos.com/Bongino. Application times may vary. Rates may vary. Visit ethos.com for details. So happy to welcome to the show a good friend, a patriot, and a guy who really gets it, especially when it comes to the world's big threats, counterterror, counterintel. Sebastian Gorka, counterterrorism advisor to the president. Welcome to the show.
It is my distinct pleasure. I know we've been trying to set this up for a while. We miss you, Dan, inside the sausage factory, but you are crushing it as usual. The president is so happy that you're one of the team members on the outside. It is a great honor to be on your show, Dan.
Oh, well, listen, that means a lot to me. We worked together. We were on the phone 3-4 times a week. You being one of the, the senior counterterror advisors to the president of the United States, the FBI having a lead law enforcement role in counterterrorism. We had a talk. I wish we didn't have to talk as often as we did. But one of the things you and I worked on immediately, I get into office. I'm there, 2 or 3 days. And I said, guys, drones. What are we doing about drones? And I was actually shocked to see whether it was resource allocation, money, personnel in the FBI, that the prior leadership, not the ground level guys, but the prior leadership there, I just don't think took the drone threat that seriously. I get a call one day. They go, hey, you know who's obsessed with the drone problem too? I said, who? They said, your buddy Gorka. It's all he talks about is drones. I said, that's my guy. We get together. Luckily, we had an amazing president who immediately understood the gravity of the problem. And in just a few months, you pushed on your end, I pushed on my end. You had an executive order, drone school, money flowing into the space. Just explain to the audience, this is a real problem. And thankfully, the president and this administration gets it.
All right, so I can still see it now, Dan. Sitting in your massive conference room in the Hoover building. We were at the end of this massive table. Our knees were touching. I had my director for drone affairs from the NSC, the incredible Matt Whitehead. You had one of your team members and your counselor. And my gosh, were you taking this serious? Let me just be, for the record, empirically make a statement. Inside US government, outside of the president, there was nobody else who took this threat as seriously as you did. And it's because of you. It's because of Director Patel, your incredible team members, and the president's catalytic effect that we are in a situation that is 1,000 times better than it was prior to us coming back into the building. For years and years, the leadership did nothing who had the responsibility to do so. Right. And Congress was an obstacle. And there were also agencies, I'm not going to burn on your show right now, who were obstructionist in terms of this threat. But let me also, for the record, state the first meeting of the National Security Council at the highest level, because, the principal level, I work in the NSC, but, the NSC is the first meeting, Dan, of the NSC in this administration was about drones. Why? Right. Because you can't have hundreds of sightings over Bedminster and the president become commander-in-chief and not say, hang on a second, do we know what's flying in our airspace? Go online right now, put in Ukraine and drones or cartels and drones and see how this is 70% of all fatalities and casualties in the Ukrainian war weren't small arms fire, weren't even artillery. They called artillery the queen of the battlefield for the last century. It's now drones. 70% of casualties are drones. So thanks to your leadership and thanks to this incredible team, not of rivals like Lincoln had, but of teammates, this is incredible. At the cabinet level, sub-cabinet, everybody's a patriot who wants to fix things. And again, I just got to, blow your horn, your trumpet right now. I have never seen in the history of the United States, outside of maybe wartime in World War II, a government initiative go from 0 to 1,000 miles an hour in 4 months. The fact that thanks to your leadership, Director Patel, the incredible leadership of, Pete Hegseth, the secretary with his drone task force under General Ross, we went from 0 to having a federal counter-drone school at Redstone Arsenal in 4 months. I was honored to be there for the graduation of the first counter-drone operators from state, local, and tribal law enforcement. You've been in government far longer than I have. Dan Bongino, tell me when an initiative has gone from 0 to a schoolhouse in 4 months, because I don't know one.
Yeah. No, I don't. And, you and I, listen, it's leadership from the top. You and I did not get elected president. Donald Trump did. But the hard reality is, having worked in the administration now twice, is if you don't have presidential leadership, nothing moves. So when the president told you, as one of his senior advisors on counterterror, hey, Seb, this is a real problem. Do what needs to get done. I know what you did. You called over, and I want to hat tip OMB, Russ Vought, and at the time, Dan Bishop, his deputy. They said, what do you guys need? Do you need funds? I said, yes. Unfortunately, I know the answer in government, as you know, is always money, money, money. And 90% of the time, it's not money. It's just having some smarts and common sense. This was money. Drone mitigation tools, training, getting the locals involved. And yes, that drone school, remember you and I sitting over in the OEOB at that drone meeting with the guys, who I'm talking about? And we brought our people in, and I brought one of my senior advisors in, Fred, and I brought him in from the Secret Service. And we're sitting there, and the guys, me and Seb, were listening to this briefing from to say tip of the spear is probably underselling it. And these guys were like, brother, this isn't a problem for tomorrow. This is the now. And he was, we're talking about everything that was going on in Ukraine with Spiderweb. This is going to happen here eventually. And I'm really glad, like I said, that this presidential executive order, this president's not screwing around.
All right, so first, thank you for mentioning Fred. Fred has been an incredible colleague in all of this work, as has General Ross at the JADA 401 at the Department of War. But, again, it's the leadership from the president, then through, Secretary Rubio, National Security Advisor, all the way down. The fact that one of my team members, and I'm going to give him a hat tip because he's an FBI body, here at the NSC, my colleague Matt Whitehead, who wrote the president's executive order that created a presidential counter-drone task force that I'm honored because Secretary Rubio put me in the position. I chair that every month. And we come together and we have those threat briefings. And as you said, zero fail mission. The fact that thanks to Russ Vought, thanks to the leadership at DHS, and my gosh, does Secretary Mullen get this? I was with him last week. Basically, all we spoke about was drones. But the fact the biggest non-disaster release of funds through FEMA was on drones and getting the technology, not to the feds, right? Because, the FBI, your guys, they have those capabilities. DOW has those capabilities. But this is going to be responded to in the first instance by state and local and tribal law enforcement. The fact that we got, more than $1 billion released to keep Americans safe for Freedom 250, for the FIFA World Cup, for the cage match that's going to happen in a few days here on the South Lawn. We're not going to compromise on this security. And Dan, you were a big part of that because this is the future threat and it cannot be ignored.
Oh, thank you. And, I know you've been on the receiving end of a lot of this liberal media crap where they're like, oh, my gosh, we need all of these, we need to go back to the Biden era, quote, experts on this stuff. Seb, you and I got in there and we were both genuinely stunned moving on from drones. at how unfocused the government-wide counterterror mission was before President Trump, thank the Lord, walked back into the White House. They were focusing on like agave and this like, you know, the white supremacist threat.
Right,
Listen, yeah, right, exactly. Like, listen, any kind of racial identity politics violence is horrible. But okay, we get it. Like, everybody understands that. However, when you're telling the United States citizenry under Ray's leadership, Biden and previously Obama, that, you know, white supremacy is the biggest problem in the United States, the resources follow that. And then you have to then create a problem that may not exist to that level. You saw this, right? To justify the resource allocation, which then comes from other threats like Islamo-radicalism and other things. This is not a cost-free enterprise. You and I would sit down. You basically had a big, huge footprint on rewriting the whole counterterror policy. We got our CTD team from the FBI in there with you. We're like, we're dumping all this crap. That's it. We're starting from scratch, and we're gonna shocker, we're gonna start investigating the actual threats backed up by the numbers.
Right. So look, I don't know what I do next, whether I become a poet or a farmer, because I got to put all of that reality-based threat assessment, 26 years of my life, into a 16-page document that the president just signed as the new U.S. counterterrorism strategy. And there's two things about it. It's common sense counterterrorism, and it's reality-based threat assessment. We will not permit, it's on the president's forward, it's on page 1, we will not permit the political perversion of national security, especially the awesome counterterrorism powers we have in the federal government. We're not going to label Catholics who go to Tridentine mass enrichment as domestic terrorists. Right. We're not going to put Tulsi Gabbard on a terrorist no-fly list because she's a Democrat who dares to support President Trump. And we're not going to use armed federal agents to raid the home of a former president, taking props of classified cover sheet covers to use for their leaked photographs to the Washington Post. No politics in CT. We're going to concentrate on 3 baskets of threats. Number 1, the cartels, because under the open Biden border policies, they killed over 100,000 Americans every year with their drugs. That's the same as 70 years of combat after World War II. If you add Korea, Vietnam, Gulf I, Gulf II, it's 103,000 military U.S. servicemen killed in those conflicts in 70 years. Under Biden, that many Americans died in 1 year thanks to fentanyl. So cartels, we're taking them out with the incredible leadership of Stephen Miller, Homeland Security Advisor, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary at the Pentagon. That's bucket 1, because they declared war on us. Bucket 2 is what I'm responsible for, the global jihadi threat, which is real. If you're on Bourbon Street and a guy comes at you in an F-150 truck on New Year's Eve saying, you know, Allahu Akbar, I'm sorry, that's not in Mosul. That's not in, Addis Ababa. That's here in New Orleans. And then thirdly, because guess what? To quote the great, I'm going to use Matt Boyle's statement he used with me. When it comes to domestic political violence, the bullets are flying in one direction. When you look at our friend Charlie Kirk assassinated live on camera, the multiple attempts by left-wingers against President Trump, you look at the assaults against ICE. If this were the 1990s and I was head of counterterrorism in the 90s, yeah, I'd be looking at the militias. Yeah, I'd be looking at right-wing extremists. But right now, according to the CSIS, Dan, the CSIS is not a MAGA think tank. It's a liberal think tank. And they said, the stats are clear. Left-wing violence is in ascendance and is eclipsing right-wing violence. So I am beholden to that empirical reality, and that's why we're going to deal with those threats. And we will not permit you from either side of the political aisle to use violence for purposes that are ideological against your fellow American. But sadly, you look at the stats from the transgender killers, the Annunciation Church, the Covenant School, the patterns are clear, and I am bound to respond to the real threats, not putative ones, not ones that are good for my political party in election, the real threat. And you are a national security professional, and you do exactly the same thing.
We did. I appreciate that. And folks, I know in the media out there, you'll be like, oh, these guys, like a big love fest. No, we're just telling you what we did. You can take that and stick it right up your caboose. Like we went in there and had to fix your mess. You were the liberals who covered for the failed counterterrorism.
Let me just go down that rabbit hole, right? Because, oh no, the experts aren't in charge. The podcasters and the TV personalities. This is like, omission is the same as commission, okay? When you're talking about reporting information. I've spent 30 years studying terrorism, 3 decades. I was a regular lecturer at the Q course, the Kennedy School of Irregular Warfare at Fort Bragg. I've taught the US military, the intelligence community, the FBI, IAs, SOSs, agents for 30 years. You were a Secret Service agent, then at the NYPD. The idea that we're not qualified. Kash Patel, I don't think anybody in government has ever had Kash Patel's CV. From congressional investigator to DOJ prosecutor to chief of staff of the Pentagon to acting deputy director of of national intelligence. There is nobody more qualified for any job in national security. But no, let Jake Sullivan tell us that the Middle East, or was that article they had to retroactively delete the headline of? He wrote just before October the 7th, you remember? Jake Sullivan, the Middle East has never been more stable.
Yes.
And then they had to go back in.
We used to play that clip on the show all the time. The Middle East has never been more stable. These were Sebastian Gorka is accurately, you can go look it up, folks. Internet, do your homework. National Security Advisor in the Biden team, Jake Sullivan, telling everyone, everything's basically cool in the Middle East. It's never been this like pacified or whatever. And then October 7th happens. I mean, these were your experts in the past. Sebastian, one of the things,
one last thing. You said it wasn't coordinated, right, under Biden. It was coordinated, but all in the wrong direction, right, to hunt down conservatives for being conservatives. I love it. Somebody wrote an article last week, because I keep talking about the metrics, the unclassified stuff I can talk about. Since January the 20th, since the president was sworn in, outside of Operation Epic Fury, our warfighters have killed, I can mention this now, I went to my guy this morning, got the update, 1,031 jihadis have been permanently removed from the battlefield in 15 months. Even cooler than that, the president has rescued 106 US citizens who were hostages or wrongfully detained without one ransom being paid. No president has rescued over 100 Americans in a year. And you know what one commentator, one expert said last week? Gorka's obsessed with the number of how many jihadis we've killed. How is that a good metric? Dan, killing jihadis is pretty good a metric, I think, because then they don't get to kill Americans. That's the expert opinion.
Sebastian, you know why they don't get to kill us? Because they're dead. That's kind of how that works. I mean,
what's that Bongino's first rule for good guys?
Don't get dead. Unless you're a jihadi, then we'll help you get dead quickly. And we have no problem doing that, and neither does this president. The president's not going to bat an eyelash at a dead jihadi at all. That's the goal. Kill them before they kill us.
I'm not going to talk out of school, but whenever we get to a certain issue and CT, and this is multiple occasions in the Oval Office, and my team can attest to this, the president's response is, kill more of them. That's leadership. That's risk. It's saying we're going to take a risk. We're not going to be, frivolous, but we're going to, in Nigeria, let me just make this statement. It is, again, declassified. Our operation 2 weeks ago, today, the biggest CT operation since 9/11. I watched it live from the sit room. It was like a Tom Clancy movie, but it was real. In that CT operation against ISIS, our warfighters killed 199 enemy killed in action. That's the biggest operation. And you know what? Those are people with American blood on their hands or who were planning to kill Americans. Now they will not kill any Americans because our tier 1 operators took them out. That is a metric.
And we're talking to Seb Gorka, senior advisor to the president on counterterrorism. Just an amazing guy. It was an honor to work with him. Seb, I'm limited on time, but I really want to get this in because I want to throw a big shout out to, you just mentioned him. You and I have had the unbelievable honor, the distinct honor of going out, meeting with these tier 1 operators, whether it's HRT or our special operators in the Army, the Marines, the Air Force. Everyone's got the Navy. They all have their special teams out there, from the SEALs to Delta. These guys are just elite level warriors. They've got that stare. And you were always thinking to yourself, you and I have been in some of these meetings where you're with them and you're looking at those eyes and the experience those eyes have seen and those hands have done. You're like, man, I would not under any circumstances want to be on the receiving end of a mission these guys are tasked on.
Yeah, can I just, I spent the first few weeks, as you should, traveling around the community, meeting with these people. I went to Dam Neck, I talked to the various tier 1 operators, I went around the intelligence community, the DOD, and the resounding comment I got from all of them after 4 years of Biden, and it was kind of spooky. I felt like, they were handing out, talking points. They said, can we just have some decisiveness? Can we just have a will to act from our commander-in-chief? Well, guess what? They got the will to act. These are the best in the world. Watching them live take down those 199 jihadis, it was like clockwork. I mean, absolutely stunning. But they only get to, fast rope in. They only get to chopper in if the commander-in-chief says yes. If the Secretary of War says to the combatant commander, yeah, green light, go. That's what leadership is. And let me also recognize those who make the work of those who go into battle possible. And that's the intelligence analysts. It was one of my greatest moments in my career when Jafar, 43 days into the administration, I'm standing on the tarmac with Kash, with Pam, with John Radcliffe, with Tulsi, waiting for Jafar to land on the DOJ jet, one of the key persons behind the Abbey massacre of our servicemen and women. And it was a cold 3 a.m. in the morning. And I turned around and I saw behind me like a dozen people who were not tier 1 operators. They didn't have a ceramic plated vest on. And I said, I recognize you. You briefed me in my skiff last week. And these were the intelligence analysts who had been tracking and hunting Jafar for 3 years since Abbey-gate.
Right.
And they wanted to be there on the tarmac. And God bless them, because the hottest hot operator doesn't get to take down that high-value target unless they've got that exquisite intelligence from the people who live in the dark and work in the dark. So it's a massive team, and it is the best in the world, and you're a key part of it.
Oh, those guys are just amazing. My last mission before I went back to the private sector here was Maduro. That was actually the day before, and I got the call from Kash, and I just remember thinking, gosh, Maduro must have woke up and been like, the Americans are here. How do I know that? Because only we could go in there like that with, 0 casualties on our side and into a foreign country and do that. Only us. There's no one else on earth.
But we're going to hat tip to that chopper pilot, that enlisted man, Eric, who got the Medal of Honor at the recent congressional joint session, who took multiple rounds from an AK into his legs as he was landing the chopper, and his co-pilot automatically wanted to react and get out of there in safety, and Eric said, calm the stick. We are landing, and we're staying here till our operators get Maduro in those flex cuffs. That's America, Dan.
Right. I should have said no fatalities.
Three rifle were in the legs, and he says, hang on, we're keeping this chopper here until the boys are back on board. Incredible.
That's our guys. That's our boys. So last question for you. We had discussed, because again, the media has a hard time digesting results. They're used to cheap talk and BS and Kamala Harris, and we're on the bus and we're rolling down the street and all this stupid stuff. Worked on drones, President EO on drones. We talked about reorganizing the entire government's counter-terror mission, which we did, again, with the leadership of this president. But the third thing, hard results that had not been done before to this degree that you and I and the president and OMB and the FBI and everyone pushed for, was pushing the border of the United States out. Seb, as you know, by the time they get here, sometimes it's just too late. You don't want them in a U.S. airport being detained. You want them detained in Uganda before they get off the plane. How do you do that? We sent a bunch of people into prisons overseas, people accused of non-U.S. cits overseas that don't have constitutional rights, or not U.S. citizens, or not in the United States or in our territories, right? And we took their biometrics in conjunction with foreign partners. That way, when these guys get on the plane and, there's the biometric fingerprint or whatever hits, they don't get on the plane in Uganda. They don't even come here. This was a massive effort, never done to this scale, still going on to this day. But another thing I think you and the administration and the FBI can hang their hat on that the other administration just didn't do to the degree we did it.
No, because if you're focused on artificially generated threats that you need for political purposes, you don't have time, money, or resources to actually look at the real threats. But this idea that actually one of my directors in my counterterrorism directorate made so clear at the beginning of the administration that we need to disrupt. Counterterrorism is about disruption, detection and disruption of plotting. We want to disrupt not when they're close to the goal line. We want to push that disruption to the very beginning of the plotting, or even before they can meaningfully plot or create that team that's going to do the action. So, we haven't mentioned them yet. That system, it's DHS, absolutely. It's also the State Department. The State Department is crucial in working with certain nations where there are pockets of individuals who could come here or collaborate with terrorists already on US soil, and we need to detect that as soon as possible. If we can put the shield of detection 6,000 miles away from our borders, then we're all going to be safe. So it is a sophisticated, complex mission, but we have the right people. And back to the leadership issue. It's really joyous about this administration, because we could do another interview about how different it is from the last time I was in the White House, is that everybody, especially at the senior level, they're all friends, right? And they're friends of mine. I'm not a cabinet member, but I can call Kash Patel whenever I want. I can call, the director of, the CIA or
you call me all the time. We were on the phone all the time.
But when we're not competing, and the only thing we care about is America and protecting Americans, because that's what the president told us. Dude, you can just get anything done you want to. If you're all moving in the same direction, wow, the mutual force multiplier effect. The only problem we have, and I'm not trying to be flippant, the only problem we have in this administration is keeping up with the president, because nobody can keep up with this man.
No,
we live skiff life, right? So we have to leave our cell phones outside our skiffs, and we come out, once or twice a day, and we look at our phones and we say, oh my gosh, what did he do now? Peace deal number 8. Nobody can keep up with the man. So, that's our op tempo we try and replicate. But when you're friends and patriots together, there's really no obstacle to what can be achieved.
Seb, you're so right. I laugh at the nothing is happening people. You're in your own skiff. It's a skiff of your own creation where you just refuse to believe reality. Seb, I got to run. Thank you for your patriotism, your leadership. I've seen you marshal meetings. You do a great job. Folks, for a guy who made his living, lecturing and talking on the air, and as a distinguished lecturer, you'd be surprised. Like, he just lets people do it, and it was really cool. Like, sometimes, Seb, you're in these meetings, and all people want to do is hear themselves talk. Seb would do that, and he got the best experts in the world. It was an honor to work with you. You are welcome back on the show anytime. Thanks for coming on today. We really appreciate it.
It reminds me when I left the first Trump administration to go on the outside, and the president said, you can support me from the outside. That's what you are doing, but you are still a member of the OG team. Whatever you need, Dan, keep doing what you're doing. God bless all of your viewers and listeners.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. That was Sebastian Gorka, folks, Senior Counterterrorism Advisor to the President. Hey, big news for Monday. Vince has a great interview coming up with Interior Secretary Doug Burgum, who's responsible for all these beautification projects. Massive, massive job. So check that out. He's on at 8 o'clock Eastern time every day, rumble.com/Vince. Haley's on at noon, rumble.com/Haley. Please download the Rumble app. We would really appreciate it. It is free. If you want to watch on the web or your smart TV, it's free too. You can download the app on your smart TV. You can also go to rumble.com/Bongino. Just click that follow button. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that interview as much as I did. I love the national security space. Seb was a great leader and a great friend. The president's got a great team because a lot of stuff is happening. I will see you back here on Monday.
Hey there, I'm Vince.
I'm Haley Cardia,
Host of Vince.
host of Scrolling with Haley.
You can always catch my show right here
on the Bongino Report.
Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, weekday mornings.
Weekdays at noon. If you miss it, no worries. The show will always be
right here
and anywhere you find podcasts. Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, Haley Karania here, host of Scrolling with Haley. My show is coming up right here on Rumble at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I cover breaking news, react to viral videos, go down conspiracy theory rabbit holes, and have a whole lot of fun. You are not going to want to miss a second of it. Live, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Rumble, rumble.com/Haley. I'll see you there.